Hey, everybody, welcome to this episode of the Disc Golf Answer Man.
Hello, this is Jason. I live in Asheville, North Carolina. You need to come down and play Richmond Hill. It's a pretty tough course, lots of trees, elevation, fun stuff. I've been playing disc golf since the 80s. I am 47. I am less limber now and find that when I really get behind the throw, I am erratic with my release point. Should I try to figure out my release by throwing standing still or with a run up? And also, are there any stretches that help with throwing?
Well, real quick for the stretches, I don't know any specific ones.
Mhm.
I know that there's some stretches you can do. I like Disc Golf Strong. Seth Muncie likes to call them the halos,
Mhm.
where you're taking. You're not going to be able to see this on the audio, but on the video, you take a putter or whatever you want to take, and you twist around your head with the disc in your hand, and it's kind of loosening up your shoulders. Now, I don't know if that helps what he's doing, but for that part of the question, I highly recommend going on Facebook. He has a group that he started called Disc Golf Strong, and you'll be able to watch a lot of videos, good knowledge that he has, and he's very open to answering questions on the physical strength and conditioning of disc golf. So that I would recommend. But
Right.
what
And
about the other?
Seth's a personal trainer and owned a gym. And so he knows what he's talking about.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. He knows the stuff.
and he was like,
Yeah.
what is it called? Cum laude, summa. What is it?
Mhm.
Summa.
He did really good in school.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. I think that's what they call it.
Yeah, summa cum laude, or
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Bachelors of whatever.
Yeah,
Did really good in school. That's what it says on there.
did better than a lot of other people.
Yeah.
I think that's
So,
what it
so
is.
you guys are dumb.
Okay.
So when you're talking about learning to throw from a standstill or learning to throw with a run up, I think the most important thing you can do is learn to throw from a standstill. If you can do your basics from a standstill, then you can introduce a run up to that. But the goal is your standstill needs to feel like the end of your run up. So your feet need to be in the same position. The reason that you eliminate the run up is so that when you take care of, or when you take away those, I guess, unnecessary motions, it allows you to focus more on the very end of the flight, or the very end of the throw, which is what it sounds like you're struggling with. So I would work on a standstill that mimics the end of your run up, and then just work on consistency, just hitting the same point. When I go and do this, I go out into a field, pick a tree, and just try and release every disc on line with that tree. Working on angles, that's fine. You can throw a hyzer like that. You can throw an anhyzer like that. You can throw a straight shot. But where every release is on line with that tree, that's how I like to practice consistency. And so that's what I would try out. Once you have that, then you can work on introducing a run up, or maybe even just a one step. And I would just reintroduce it slowly so that you don't lose the fundamentals that you got from that, from the time that you spent practicing without a run up. What about stretches? You stretch, I think, probably more than us because
I try to do a
because
lot of
you're
yoga,
good about
but,
that. Yeah.
but that's only because I'm all broken and my spine gets out of line. So if I don't do it, then then it's way worse.
Yeah, it's not good.
Well, also it's good for you too. It's not just because of that. But that's what got me started doing it.
Yeah.
I think just warming up before you throw is pretty important. But what he's talking about was he was saying his release point was getting off, right?
Yeah.
I would say what you said was really good. You know, slow it down and try just doing it, just standstill throws, but also try filming it because you might be doing something kind of wonky, maybe with your pull through, maybe your last step is a little weird and not in line. That could be throwing you off. And sometimes something little with just being able to say, "Oh, well, I'm not pulling through straight." You fix that, and that makes a big difference for where you release. But another kind of what do you call it, like a little practice move you can do is if you have a net at your disposal, put the net a certain distance, I don't know, maybe 50-60 feet, and just put a piece of paper with an X on it where you want to hit, and then you can kind of maybe practice hitting right into that specific spot each time, and that'll kind of help you get that even release point that he's looking for.
Definitely.
Yeah, because going back to the very beginning basics, like when people were trying to teach me how to throw, my first thing was, how do you know when to release it?
Mm-hmm.
And they told me just go through the motions, your body will figure it out, and then obviously it does. But I like that how you're not necessarily doing a specific mechanic to do it, but you're teaching yourself. When I release it like this and I let it go like this, it's going to hit a certain spot. And if I keep doing that consistency, I think your mind's going to finally figure it out. This is what it feels like. This is what happens when you release it to make it hit that certain spot.
Yeah, because you always know when you throw a good shot and you had a good release, like you can feel it. Even if you're not exactly sure what you did, you can feel it. So if, you can get to that point where you're hitting around the same spot each time and it feels good, then you're dialing it back.
And then on the opposite, you really know it when you throw it bad.
Yeah,
that's even easier to tell.
Yeah,
that's like the worst. As soon as you you're like, I let go.
You just turn around like,
my hand. I like my grip, or well, of course, the obvious is a grip lock when you grip lock it. So.